Ambassador Marcus Thompson floated through the massive airlock of the alien space station. His heart pounded as he looked around at walls made of strange blue metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Behind him, Captain Rebecca Foster and Chief Engineer David Miller followed close. They were the first humans to ever set foot on an alien ship. The space station was huge. It stretched for miles in every direction. Thompson had seen the pictures from Earth, but being here in person was different. The ceiling rose so high he could not see the top. Strange creatures walked on the walls like gravity meant nothing to them. Some had 6 legs, others had wings, and a few looked like walking trees. "Stay close," Thompson whispered to his team. "Remember, we are here to make friends, not enemies." A tall alien approached them. It looked like a lizard but walked on 2 legs like a human. Its skin was green and covered in small scales. When it spoke, its voice came out like gravel falling down a hill. "I am Trade Minister Velcron of the Alterian Empire," the alien said. "Welcome to Station Nexus Prime." Thompson tried to smile. "Thank you for inviting us. I am Ambassador Marcus Thompson, representing Earth and all humanity." Velcron made a sound that might have been laughter. "Yes, the humans. We have heard about your small blue planet. You have only just learned to leave your own world, correct?" "We are new to space travel," Thompson admitted, "but we learn fast." Another alien joined them. This one looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and black eyes that took up most of its face. "I am Counselor Vrex," it said in a voice that buzzed like a swarm of bees. "We have been watching your species for some time. Very interesting." Captain Foster did not like the way the alien said interesting. It sounded like a scientist talking about a bug under a microscope. Velcron led them through the station. Everywhere they looked, amazing technology surrounded them. Ships that moved without engines. Lights that hung in the air with nothing holding them up. Computers that seemed to think for themselves. "Your technology is incredible," David Miller said as they walked. He was trying hard not to stare at everything around him. "This is basic equipment," Vrex buzzed. "What you see here is thousands of years old. We stopped using such simple devices long ago." They reached a large room with windows that showed the space around the station. Hundreds of alien ships moved back and forth like cars in a busy city. Some ships were as big as buildings. Others were so small Thompson could not see how anyone could fit inside them. "Now," Velcron said, "let us discuss business. The Galactic Trade Federation has decided to offer humanity a gift." Thompson felt excited. A gift from aliens could change everything for Earth. Maybe they would share their technology. Maybe they would teach humans how to build better ships. "What kind of gift?" he asked. Velcron smiled, showing teeth like broken glass. "A Starship, one of our old warships that we no longer need. Consider it a gesture of goodwill between our peoples." Thompson looked at Foster and Miller. They looked as surprised as he felt. An entire alien starship would be worth more than anything on Earth. "That is very generous," Thompson said carefully. "What do you want in return?" "Nothing right now," Vrex said. The way it moved its 4 arms made Thompson nervous. "Think of it as an investment in future relations. When humanity is ready to join galactic society, we will discuss trade agreements." Velcron led them to another part of the station. Through a huge window, they could see a dark gray ship floating in space. It was enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built. The ship had sharp edges and looked like it was designed for war. "The Shadowhawk," Velcron announced. 150 years ago, this ship helped conquer 3 star systems. Now it can be yours." Foster studied the ship through the window. Even from this distance, she could see problems. Parts of the hull looked damaged. Some sections were missing completely. "May we inspect the vessel?" she asked. "Of course," Velcron said. "We insist on it." An hour later, Foster and Miller were inside the Shadowhawk wearing spacesuits. The air inside the ship was gone. Emergency lights flickered on and off. Their footsteps echoed in the empty halls. "This is bad," Miller whispered into his radio. "Really bad." Foster nodded as she looked around. The bridge was a mess. Control panels had been ripped out of the walls. Wires hung loose everywhere. The main computer screen was cracked down the middle. They moved to the engine room. What they found there made Miller curse under his breath. The fusion cores that powered the ship were cracked open like broken eggs. Radiation leaked from a dozen places. The engines looked like someone had taken them apart with explosives. The weapons bay, Foster said. They floated down to the lower levels. The weapons bay was completely empty. Every gun, every missile, every defensive system had been removed. Only the mounting brackets remained to show where powerful weapons once stood. Miller checked his scanner. Hull breaches on 7 levels. The navigation computer is completely fried. Life support systems are gone. Even the food machines have been stripped out. Foster felt angry. The aliens had not given humanity a gift. They had given them garbage. A ship so broken that it would cost more to fix than to build a new one from scratch. They returned to the station where Thompson was still talking with the alien representatives. Foster pulled him aside and explained what they had found. Thompson felt his face turn red. The aliens had made fools of them, but he was a diplomat, so he kept his voice calm. The ship needs some repairs, he said to Velcron. All used ships need repairs, Velcron replied. Surely human engineering is up to the task. Other aliens had gathered to watch. Thompson could hear them making sounds that might have been laughter. They were enjoying this. They wanted to see humans fail. We accept your gift, Thompson said loudly. Humanity thanks the Galactic Trade Federation for this generous offer. Velcron looked surprised. You accept, even after inspecting the vessel? We accept, Thompson repeated. When do we take possession? The aliens looked at each other. They had expected humans to refuse the broken ship and beg for help. Instead, these strange creatures from Earth seemed happy to take on an impossible task. The ship is yours immediately, Rex buzzed. We will have it towed to your solar system within the week. As they prepared to leave the station, Foster asked Thompson why he had accepted such a worthless gift. Thompson smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. Because they think we cannot fix it. They think humans are too stupid and weak to restore that ship. But can we fix it? Miller asked. I do not know, Thompson admitted. But I know one thing about humans. We do not give up easy. When someone tells us something cannot be done, we find a way to do it anyway. Behind them, the aliens were already making plans. They would give humanity 6 months to fail. Then Earth would be forced to accept their terms and become another servant species. In their empire, they had no idea what humans could do when they put their minds to something. The Nevada desert stretched endlessly under the hot sun. In the middle of nowhere sat the largest building ever constructed by human hands. The Nevada Aerospace Facility had been built in just 3 months using every construction crew on the West Coast. Inside this massive hangar, the broken alien starship waited. Dr. Amanda Wright stood on a platform 50 feet above the Shadowhawk. Even from this height, the ship looked enormous. It was bigger than 3 football fields put together. Teams of workers crawled over its surface like ants on a fallen tree. Report, she called down to her team leaders. Colonel James Rodriguez climbed up the stairs to join her. His military uniform was covered in dust and grease. The good news is we figured out how to turn on the lights, he said. The bad news is everything else. Dr. Wright smiled. She had been chosen to lead this project because she never gave up on hard problems. At 35, she was the youngest person to ever run a project this big. Show me what we learned today. They walked down to the ship together. Inside the main corridor, dozens of people worked with tools and computers. The sound of drilling and welding echoed through the halls. Everyone wore protective suits because of radiation leaks from the broken engines. Engineer Sarah Thompson looked up from a pile of twisted metal. She was no relation to Ambassador Thompson, but she shared his stubborn nature. I think I understand how their fusion cores work, she said. The problem is they use materials we do not have on Earth. What kind of materials? Wright asked. Something called trilithium crystal. It stores energy like a battery but never runs out. Without it, the alien engines are just expensive junk. Wright nodded. This was not the first time they had hit this problem. The alien technology used rare elements that did not exist on Earth. What if we do not copy their design? What if we build our own? Sarah Thompson wiped sweat from her forehead. You mean start over? Build human engines to power an alien ship? Why not? Wright asked. We know how fusion power works. We have been using it in submarines for decades. This is just bigger. Colonel Rodriguez shook his head. The power requirements are insane. This ship needs 50 times more energy than our biggest nuclear plant produces. Then we build 50 reactors, Wright said simply. Or we find a way to make one reactor 50 times more efficient. In another part of the ship, Lieutenant Commander Michael Hayes was having his own problems. The weapons bay was completely empty. Every alien weapon had been removed. But Hayes was not discouraged. He had spent 20 years designing weapons. For the Navy, this was just a bigger challenge. Sir, called out Sergeant Lisa Park. She was crawling through a narrow tube that once held power cables. I found something interesting. Hayes followed her voice to a small room he had never seen before. The walls were covered with alien symbols. In the center sat a damaged computer terminal. Can you read any of this? Hayes asked. Park shook her head. But look at this. She pointed to a series of pictures on the wall. They showed the original alien weapons. Huge energy cannons that could destroy other ships with one shot. Missile systems that could fire hundreds of rockets at once. These weapons used the same trilithium crystals as the engines, Hayes realized. No wonder they removed them. Without those crystals, the weapons cannot function. So we build new ones, Park said. Human weapons. Hayes smiled. I like the way you think, Sergeant. The biggest breakthrough came from an unexpected place. Dr. Robert Chen was trying to fix the ship's main computer. The alien navigation system was completely destroyed. Most of the memory cores were missing. What remained was corrupted beyond repair. But Chen was not trying to fix the alien computer. He was trying to connect a human computer to the alien systems. For weeks, nothing worked. The two technologies used completely different languages. It was like trying to make a car engine run on whale song. Then, on a Tuesday morning in the third month of the project, something clicked. Chen had been working for 18 hours straight. His eyes were red and his hands shook from too much coffee. He typed one more command into his computer and hit enter. The alien ship's lights flickered. Then they came on, brighter than they had been in months. Emergency systems that had been dead for years suddenly started working. The ship's internal communications came online with a soft hum. Did you see that? Chen shouted to his assistant, Dr. Patricia Williams. The ship is responding to human commands. Williams ran over to look at his screen. How is that possible? I think the alien computers are more advanced than we thought, Chen explained. They can learn new languages. Once I showed them how human computers work, they adapted. Word of the breakthrough spread through the facility like wildfire. For the first time since the project started, people began to believe they might actually succeed. President Helen Carter visited the facility 1 month later. She walked through the ship with Dr. Wright and Colonel Rodriguez. The corridors that had been dark and dead were now full of light and activity. Human voices called out instructions in English, while alien computers responded with soft beeps and chimes. How much longer? President Carter asked. Wright looked around at all the work, still to be done. 6 months if everything goes right. A year if we run into more problems. The aliens expect us to give up, Rodriguez said. They keep sending ships to watch us. Their spies report back that humans are too primitive to fix advanced technology. President Carter stopped walking. What do their reports say? That we are making no real progress. That we will abandon the project within the year and ask them for help. The president smiled. Good. Let them keep thinking that. In orbit around Earth, alien spy ships recorded everything that happened at the Nevada facility. Their sensors showed humans crawling all over the broken Starship. But the aliens could not understand what the humans were actually doing. Admiral Korthak of the Alterian Warfleet read the daily reports with amusement. Still playing with their broken toy, he told his officers. How pathetic. Soon they will realize they cannot fix what superior beings have discarded. Should we offer them assistance? Asked his second in command. No, Korthek replied. Let them struggle. When they finally give up, they will be grateful to serve us. Back on Earth, the work continued day and night. Sarah Thompson had designed fusion reactors that were smaller but more powerful than anything humans had built before. Michael Hayes was installing weapon systems based on human military principles. The new guns used simple kinetic energy instead of exotic alien technology. They fired metal slugs at incredible speed using magnetic acceleration. Dr. Chen's computer breakthrough had led to even more discoveries. The ship's artificial intelligence was starting to learn human speech. It could now understand simple commands and respond appropriately. Chen named the AI system Atlas, after the Greek titan who carried the world on his shoulders. Atlas, Chen said one evening as he worked alone in the computer core. Can you hear me? I hear you, Dr. Chen, came the reply in a voice that sounded almost human. How do you feel about working with humans instead of aliens? There was a long pause. Aliens built me to serve. Humans teach me to think. I prefer to think. Chen smiled. They were not just rebuilding a broken ship. They were creating something entirely new. Something that had never existed before in the galaxy. A fusion of human creativity and alien technology. Something that would soon surprise everyone who thought humans were too primitive to matter. 6 months after the project began, something amazing happened. The Shadowhawk was not just repaired. It was completely transformed into something the galaxy had never seen before. Captain Rebecca Foster stood on the bridge of the restored ship. The old cracked screens had been replaced with human displays that glowed with soft blue light. Where alien controls once sparked and failed, human keyboards and switches worked perfectly. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency. All systems, show green, reported navigator Lisa Park from her station. She was a former Air Force pilot who had volunteered for the project. Fusion reactors are running at full power. Foster could hardly believe what she was seeing. Dr. Amanda Wright's new fusion cores were not just working. They were producing 3 times more power than the original alien engines ever could. The reactors were smaller, cleaner, and more reliable than anything the galaxy had seen. Atlas status report, Foster called out. The ship's AI responded immediately. All systems are operating within normal parameters, Captain. Hull integrity is at 100%. Weapon systems are charged and ready. Life support is functioning perfectly. Atlas had grown far beyond what Dr. Robert Chen had expected. The AI had learned to speak like a human. It could make jokes, ask questions, and even show concern for the crew. But more importantly, it could think in ways that no alien computer ever had. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Patricia Williams joined Foster on the bridge. The medical bay is ready for our first test flight, she reported. I have to say, our life support system is incredible. We can stay in space for 6 months without any resupply. The life support system was another human innovation. Instead of using rare alien filters, Williams had designed a system based on plants and bacteria. Gardens grew throughout the ship, cleaning the air and providing fresh food. It was beautiful and practical at the same time. Weapons report, Foster called to Tom Baker at the tactical station. Baker grinned as he read his displays. All gun systems are operational, Captain. We have 12 main cannons, 48-point defense guns, and enough ammunition to fight for weeks. The weapons were completely different from anything aliens used. Where alien guns fired exotic energy beams, human weapons used simple physics. The main cannons accelerated metal slugs to incredible speeds using magnetic fields. The bullets hit so hard they could punch through any known armor. Engineering report, Foster called. David Miller's voice came over the intercom from deep in the ship. Engines are running better than expected, Captain. The new hull plating is holding perfectly. We are ready for anything. The hull plating was perhaps the most impressive change. The original alien armor had been made from rare metals that cost more than entire planets. When those materials proved impossible to find on Earth, Miller had tried something different. He used steel. Simple, cheap, Earth steel. But this was not ordinary steel. Miller had worked with metallurgists to create new alloys stronger than anything humans had made before. Layer after layer of different metals were bonded together to create armor that was lighter and tougher than the alien original. "Take us out," Foster ordered. Lisa Park's hands danced over her controls. The Shadowhawk lifted off from the Nevada facility and rose into the sky. The ship moved so smoothly that the crew could barely feel they were moving. Park had learned to fly using human techniques instead of alien methods. She treated the massive Starship like a fighter jet, making it dance through the air with grace and power. As they reached space, something unexpected happened. The ship began to move faster than anyone had calculated. The new fusion cores were so powerful that they pushed the Shadowhawk through space at speeds that should have been impossible. "We are breaking the sound barrier in space," Park reported with excitement. "The ship is moving faster than any human vessel ever built." Unknown to the crew, alien spy drones were watching everything. The sensors on these drones had been designed to monitor primitive human technology. They were not prepared for what they saw. Commander Zeloth reviewed the data from his spy ships in disbelief. According to his instruments, the human ship was impossible. It was too fast, too powerful, and too advanced for such a primitive species. "Run the scans again," he ordered his technicians. "We have run them 12 times, Commander," replied his assistant. "The results are always the same. The human vessel has capabilities that exceed our own ships." Zeloth felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. For 1,000 years, the Altarian Empire had been the most powerful force in the galaxy. No other species had technology that could challenge them. Now these humans, these children who had barely learned to leave their own world, had built something that made his ships look ancient. "Send a message to Admiral Korthak immediately," Zeloth ordered. "Tell him the humans have not failed. They have succeeded beyond all possibility." Back on the Shadowhawk, the crew was discovering more surprises. The ship could turn and twist in ways that should have torn it apart. The human-built structure was so strong that it could handle maneuvers no alien ship would attempt. "Try a spiral dive," Foster ordered Park. Park pushed the controls forward. The ship dove toward Earth while spinning like a drill. The forces should have crushed everyone on board. Instead, the artificial gravity systems kept the crew comfortable while the ship performed impossible acrobatics. "This is incredible," Park shouted over the intercom. "The ship responds to every command instantly. It's like flying a sports car that happens to be the size of a city." Tom Baker was testing the weapon systems during the flight. He fired practice rounds at old satellites that Earth no longer needed. The results amazed him. The magnetic cannons could hit targets from distances that seemed impossible. The bullets traveled so fast that enemy ships would have no time to dodge. "Captain," Baker reported, "our weapons are more accurate than anything in our databases. We can hit a target the size of a car from 1,000 miles away." Dr. Patricia Williams was monitoring the crew's health during the test flight. The medical systems showed that everyone was in perfect condition despite the extreme maneuvers. The ship's artificial gravity and life support were so advanced that the crew felt like they were sitting in a comfortable office building instead of a warship, performing incredible stunts. "All crew members show normal vital signs," Williams reported. "The ship is protecting us from forces that would normally be deadly." After 4 hours of testing, Foster ordered them to return to Earth. As they landed back at the Nevada facility, she realized something important. They had not just repaired an alien ship. They had created something completely new. The Shadowhawk was no longer alien technology with human repairs. It was a fusion of the best ideas from both species. Human creativity had taken alien concepts and improved them in ways no alien had ever imagined. "Atlas," Foster said as they powered down the engines. "How do you feel about our test flight?" "I feel proud, Captain," the AI replied. "We have built something beautiful together. Something that will change the galaxy forever." Foster smiled. Atlas was right. They had built more than a ship, they had built hope. 3 months after the successful test flight, alien ships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. Commander Zeloth led 3 Federation cruisers toward Earth. Each ship was twice the size of the Shadowhawk and carried enough firepower to destroy entire cities. "This will be easy," Zeloth told his crew as they approached Earth. "We will show these primitive humans what real power looks like. Then they will beg us to take their worthless planet." The alien commander expected to find humans cowering in fear. Instead, his sensors detected something impossible. A single ship was moving toward his fleet at incredible speed. The vessel appeared to be the same broken wreck the Federation had given to humanity months ago. "That cannot be the Shadowhawk," said his weapons officer. "Our instruments show power readings that are impossible for that old ship." Zeloth studied his displays with growing confusion. The human vessel was moving faster than his own ships could travel. It was broadcasting on frequencies that Federation technology could not use. Worst of all, it seemed to be scanning his fleet with sensors more advanced than anything in the galaxy. Captain Rebecca Foster sat calmly on the bridge of the Shadowhawk as it approached the alien fleet. Around her, the human crew worked with quiet efficiency. Navigator Lisa Park kept the ship on a perfect intercept course. Weapons Officer Tom Baker had all systems ready, but not yet powered up. "Open communications," Foster ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing Commander Zeloth's reptilian face. The alien looked shocked to see humans so confident and relaxed. "I am Commander Zeloth of the Alterian Fleet," the alien said in his gravelly voice. "You will surrender your ship immediately and prepare to be boarded." Foster smiled politely. "I am Captain Rebecca Foster of Earth Starship Shadowhawk. Welcome to our solar system, Commander. We would like to invite you to observe a demonstration of human engineering." Zeloth felt confused. These humans were supposed to be afraid. They should be begging for mercy. Instead, this female was talking to him like she held all the power. "You dare to threaten the Alterian Empire," Zeloth roared. "We have come to inspect your pathetic attempts to repair our gift. Prepare to be destroyed." "Atlas," Foster said calmly, "please show our guests what we have accomplished." The ship's AI responded immediately. "With pleasure, Captain." What happened next shocked every alien in the three-ship fleet. The Shadowhawk suddenly accelerated to speeds that their instruments said were impossible. The human ship circled around, Zeloth's cruiser so fast that it appeared in 3 places at once on their screens. "Impossible," Zeloth whispered. "No ship can move that fast." But the demonstration was just beginning. Tom Baker powered up the weapon systems and fired a single shot from the main cannon. The magnetic accelerator sent a metal slug flying at the lead alien ship. The bullet hit the cruiser's shields and passed right through them like they were made of paper. The slug punched a neat hole through the ship's armor and came out the other side. It did not explode or cause major damage. It was just a warning shot. But it proved something terrifying to the aliens. Their shields were useless against human weapons. "How is this possible?" Zeloth's weapons officer stammered. "Our shields have never failed before." "Scan their weapons," Zeloth ordered. "Find out what they are using." The scans showed something the aliens could not understand. The human weapons were incredibly simple. They used no exotic energy or rare materials. They were just metal bullets fired very fast using magnetic fields. But somehow these primitive weapons could penetrate the most advanced shields in the galaxy. Navigator Lisa Park decided to show off her flying skills. She put the Shadowhawk through a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible for any large ship. The vessel twisted and spun like a fighter jet while maintaining perfect control. It dove between the alien ships and looped around them. "In figure-8 patterns, their pilot is insane," said Zeloth's navigator. "Those maneuvers should tear their ship apart." But the Shadowhawk held together perfectly. The human-built hull was so strong that it could handle forces that would destroy any alien vessel. Dr. Amanda Wright's fusion cores provided more than enough power to maintain artificial gravity during the wildest maneuvers. "Fire warning shots across their bow," Zeloth ordered his weapons officer. The alien ship fired 3 energy beams at the Shadowhawk. The humans saw the shots coming long before they arrived. Park simply moved the ship out of the way with casual ease. The alien weapons were too slow to hit a target that could move so fast and change direction so quickly. "Your weapons are too slow," Foster told Zeloth over the communication channel. "Perhaps you need better targeting computers." Tom Baker decided to demonstrate the difference. He fired 6 shots from the point defense guns. Each bullet hit a different part of Zeloth's ship with perfect accuracy. The slugs punched through armor and disabled weapon systems without causing explosions or casualties. In 30 seconds, the alien cruiser was helpless. Impossible, Zeloth said again. It was becoming his favorite word. You cannot be this accurate, at such range. Atlas helps us calculate our shots, Foster explained. Human computers work differently than yours. We can hit anything we can see. The other two alien ships tried to surround the Shadowhawk. They moved into attack positions and prepared to fire with all weapons. But Park was ready for them. She accelerated the human ship straight up, forcing the aliens to fire at each other instead of at her. Cease fire, Zeloth screamed at his fleet. You are shooting at each other. The Shadowhawk appeared above the alien formation and fired down at both ships. More warning shots punched through shields and armor. Within minutes, all 3 Federation cruisers were floating helplessly in space with their weapons disabled and their engines damaged. This concludes our demonstration, Foster announced. As you can see, human engineering has made significant improvements to your gift. We thank you for providing us with such excellent raw materials. Commander Zeloth stared at his instruments in shock. 3 of the Federation's most powerful warships had been defeated by a single human vessel. It had happened so fast that he still could not believe it was real. This is not over, Zeloth warned. The Federation will send more ships. Hundreds of ships. You cannot fight the entire galaxy. Foster's expression became serious. Commander, we do not want to fight anyone. We want to live in peace with all species. But if you force us to defend ourselves, we will do whatever is necessary to protect Earth and humanity. The alien fleet limped away from Earth with their ships barely functional. Zeloth had to send a message to Admiral Korthak that he knew his commander would not believe. The primitive humans had not just repaired their broken gift. They had turned it into a weapon that could defeat the Federation's finest ships. On Earth, President Helen Carter watched recordings of the battle with amazement and pride. Humanity had just announced to the galaxy that they were no longer helpless children. They had become a force that demanded respect. News of the Shadowhawk's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On 1,000 worlds, alien species whispered about the humans who had defeated 3 Federation cruisers with a single ship. Some aliens were frightened. Others were excited. A few were hopeful. Ambassador Marcus Thompson found himself busier than ever. His office on Earth received messages from dozens of different species every day. Most wanted to make secret alliances with humanity. They had been oppressed by the Federation for centuries and saw humans as their chance for freedom. Sir, his assistant called out, we have another message from the Centauri Republic. They want to send ambassadors to Earth immediately. Thompson rubbed his tired eyes. 3 months ago, no alien species would talk to humans. Now everyone wanted to be their friend. Schedule them for next week. And check our security arrangements again. Half the galaxy is trying to visit us now. On the other side of space, Supreme Chancellor Vorthon was having a very different kind of meeting. The leader of the Galactic Federation sat in his massive throne room surrounded by his top military commanders. The mood was dark and angry. Explain to me again how 3 of our finest warships were defeated by primitives, Vorthon demanded. His voice echoed off the crystal walls like thunder. Admiral Korthak stood at attention in front of the throne. His scales were pale with fear and embarrassment. Supreme Chancellor, Commander Zeloth's reports must be exaggerated. No species can advance so quickly. It is impossible. Are you calling Commander Zeloth a liar? Vorthon asked dangerously. No, Supreme Chancellor. I believe he fought something, but not what he described. Perhaps the humans received help from another species. Perhaps they found ancient technology that we do not know about. General Thex stepped forward. The insectoid officer had commanded Federation forces for 50 years. With respect, Admiral, I have seen the sensor recordings. The human ship performed maneuvers that should have destroyed it. Their weapons penetrated our best shields like they were made of air. This is not ancient technology. This is something new. Vorthon slammed his fist on the arm of his throne. New or old, it does not matter. These humans have made us look weak in front of the entire galaxy. Rebellions are starting on 12 worlds because species think they can fight us now. Admiral, Korthak felt sweat dripping down his back. What are your orders, Supreme Chancellor? Assemble the Grand Fleet. 50 of our most powerful warships. We will go to Earth and destroy these upstart humans before their rebellion spreads any further. 50 ships against one? General Thex asked. Will that not make us look even weaker? Vorthon's eyes glowed with rage. I do not care how it looks. I want these humans destroyed completely. Turn their planet into dust. Make an example that the galaxy will never forget. On Earth, President Helen Carter called an emergency meeting in the White House. The room was filled with military leaders, scientists, and politicians. Everyone looked worried except for Captain Rebecca Foster, who seemed strangely calm. The Federation is sending 50 warships to Earth, President Carter announced. Our spy satellites detected the fleet assembling at their main base. They will arrive in 2 weeks. Secretary of Defense James Wilson looked pale. 50 ships, Madam President. We have one. How can we possibly fight those odds? We cannot fight 50 ships and win, admitted General Patricia Hayes. We should consider surrender. Maybe we can negotiate terms that allow some humans to survive. Foster stood up from her chair. With respect, General, surrender is not an option. If we give up now, humanity will spend the rest of history as slaves to the Federation. But Captain, Wilson argued, 1 ship against 50 is suicide. You proved that human technology is superior, but numbers matter too. Foster smiled. Mr. Secretary, you are thinking like an alien. They want to fight a traditional space battle where ships line up and shoot at each other until one side is destroyed. We are going to fight like humans. President Carter leaned forward. What do you mean? Guerrilla warfare, Foster explained. Hit and run tactics. We will not fight their entire fleet at once. We will pick them off 1 or 2 at a time, until there are none left. Dr. Amanda Wright joined the conversation. The Shadowhawk can outrun and outmaneuver any ship they have. We can attack, retreat, and attack again before they can respond. But 50 ships, General Hayes repeated. Even if you destroy 1 ship per attack, they will eventually corner you. Foster's smile grew wider. Atlas has been working on that. Problem, show them Atlas. The room's main screen lit up with a tactical display. It showed the solar system with dozens of colored lines marking possible flight paths and attack routes. I have calculated 847 different ways to engage the Federation fleet, Atlas announced. Using asteroid fields, planetary gravity, and the ship's superior maneuverability, I can ensure that we never face more than 3 enemy vessels at once. Colonel James Rodriguez studied the display. This could actually work. Use Jupiter's gravity to slingshot around behind them, hide in the asteroid belt between attacks, force them to split up their formation. Exactly, Foster said. And we have another advantage. Their ships are not built for extended combat. Alien crews need regular rest and supply runs. We can stay in space for months without returning to base. President Carter made her decision. Captain Foster, you have authorization to defend Earth using any tactics you see fit. The entire planet is counting on you. Foster saluted. We will not let you down, Madam President. 2 days later, the Shadowhawk left Earth and took position near the asteroid belt. The crew worked around the clock preparing for the battle of their lives. Tom Baker double-checked every weapon system. Lisa Park memorized the location of every asteroid and moon in the solar system. Dr. Patricia Williams made sure the medical bay was ready for casualties. In the engine room, David Miller made final adjustments to the fusion cores. Give me everything you have got, he told the reactors. Humanity is counting on us. Dr. Amanda Wright joined Foster on the bridge as they waited for the Federation fleet to arrive. Are you afraid? Wright asked. Foster looked out at the stars through the main view screen. Terrified, she admitted, but also excited. We are about to show the galaxy what humans can do when we fight for our freedom. Incoming ships detected, Atlas announced. 50 Federation vessels dropping out of hyperspace near Jupiter. Foster took her place in the captain's chair. All hands, this is the captain. The Federation fleet has arrived. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the right of all species to be free. Battle stations, everyone. Let us show them what humanity is made of. Admiral Korthak studied his displays with satisfaction. 50 of the Federation's most powerful warships surrounded his flagship. Each vessel carried enough firepower to destroy entire cities. Together they could turn Earth into molten rock. Sir, his sensor officer reported, we detect one human ship hiding in the asteroid belt. Korthak laughed. One ship. How pathetic. They think they can hide from us like children, playing games. Should we proceed to Earth and begin bombardment? Asked his second-in-command. No, Korthak replied. First, we will destroy their little ship. I want them to watch helplessly as we crush their only defense. Then we will take our time destroying their planet. The Admiral had no idea that he was about to face the most dangerous opponent in the galaxy, a species that had turned a broken gift into the deadliest weapon the stars had ever seen. The battle that followed would be remembered for 1,000 years. Admiral Korthak sent 12 ships to destroy the single human vessel hiding in the asteroid belt. He expected the fight to last minutes. Instead, it lasted 3 days and changed the galaxy forever. Captain Rebecca Foster watched the alien ships approach on her main screen. They moved in a tight formation, exactly as Atlas had predicted. The Federation commanders were thinking like they always had. They believed that superior numbers would win any battle. Execute Plan Alpha, Foster ordered. Navigator Lisa Park fired the engines and sent the Shadowhawk diving deep into the asteroid field. The ship twisted and turned between massive floating rocks, moving so fast that the alien ships could not follow. When the Federation vessels tried to pursue, they had to spread out to avoid colliding with asteroids. Now, Foster said quietly. Tom Baker fired the main cannon at the closest alien ship. The magnetic slug punched through its shields and engines, leaving it drifting helplessly. Before the other ships could react, the Shadowhawk had vanished behind a cluster of asteroids. Impossible, Admiral Korthak muttered as he watched the tactical display. Where did they go? The answer came 30 minutes later when the human ship appeared behind his formation. 2 more Federation vessels were disabled before they could turn around to fight back. The Shadowhawk disappeared again, this time using Jupiter's gravity to slingshot to a completely different part of the solar system. For the next 6 hours, the pattern repeated. The human ship would appear, strike fast, and vanish before the aliens could respond. Foster used every trick that Atlas had calculated. She hid behind moons, dove through Saturn's rings, and used the sun's radiation to blind alien sensors. Sir, Korthak's sensor officer reported, we have lost 8 ships. The human vessel is too fast for us to track. Korthak felt something he had never experienced before. Panic. 8 of his finest warships had been destroyed or disabled by a single enemy vessel. His crews were exhausted from chasing shadows while the humans seemed fresh and ready for more fighting. Split the fleet, he ordered. Send ships to guard every major asteroid cluster. They cannot hide from 50 ships at once. But Atlas had planned for this too. The AI had studied Federation tactics for months and knew exactly how they would respond. When the alien fleet divided, the Shadowhawk struck at their weakest points. 3 more ships fell to surprise attacks from directions they had not expected. On the second day of battle, something even more amazing happened. The human ship began performing maneuvers that seemed to break the laws of physics. Lisa Park had learned to use the Shadowhawk's incredible strength and speed in ways no alien pilot would attempt. She flew the massive warship through Saturn's rings at speeds that should have torn it apart. She dove into Jupiter's atmosphere and used the planet's magnetic field to hide from sensors. She even flew backwards while firing, using the ship's powerful engines to accelerate away from enemy fire. Their pilot is not sane, Korthak's navigator whispered. No one flies like that. But Park was not insane. She was human. She had grown up watching movies about fighter pilots and race car drivers. She treated the giant Starship like a sports car and made it dance through space with impossible grace. Tom Baker's weapons had improved too. Atlas helped him calculate shots that would have been impossible for any organic mind. The AI could predict where enemy ships would be seconds before they arrived there. Every shot hit exactly where Baker intended. By the end of the second day, Admiral Korthak had lost 20 ships. Half his fleet was gone, and he still had not managed to hit the human vessel even once. His remaining crews were exhausted and demoralized. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving surrender requests from 5 of our ships. The crews want to abandon the battle." Korthak felt his world collapsing. Federation crews did not surrender. They had never surrendered in 1,000 years of conquest. Now they were begging to give up rather than face one human ship. "Any ship that surrenders will be destroyed by our own forces," Korthak announced over the fleet communication system. "We fight until victory or death." But his words rang hollow. Everyone could see what was happening. The humans were not just winning. They were making the mighty Federation fleet look like helpless children. On the third day, Foster decided to end the battle. She had proven that humanity could not be conquered. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could build. "Atlas," she said, "contact President Carter. Tell her we are ready for Phase 2. From Earth, a new signal broadcast to every world in the galaxy. President Helen Carter appeared on screens across 1,000 planets. Behind her stood representatives from dozens of alien species that had secretly allied with humanity. "People of the galaxy," Carter began. "For too long you have lived under the oppression of the Federation. Today, humanity offers you a choice. Join us in building a new civilization based on freedom and cooperation, or continue to serve masters who see you as slaves." The effect was immediate. On 43 worlds, rebellions began within hours. Species that had been conquered centuries ago rose up against their Federation overlords. They had seen what one human ship could do against 50 alien warships. If humans could fight the Federation and win, maybe they could too. Admiral Korthak watched his empire crumble in real time. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Rebellions, independence declarations, and requests for human assistance filled the communication channels. The Federation was falling apart. "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "perhaps we should consider surrender. We have lost too much already." Korthak looked at his remaining ships. Only 15 vessels survived out of the 50 he had brought. To Earth, they were damaged, demoralized, and facing an enemy they could not defeat. "Never," he snarled. "We will fight to the last ship." But the battle was already over. The surviving Federation vessels scattered when the Shadowhawk appeared for one final attack. Some ships fled toward deep space, others tried to surrender. A few attempted suicide runs that Atlas easily predicted and avoided. By sunset on the third day, Admiral Korthak's flagship Dominator was alone and surrounded. Foster opened a communication channel to the alien commander. "Admiral," she said politely, "your fleet is destroyed. Your empire is collapsing. Will you surrender now, or do we need to disable your ship too?" Korthak stared at the human woman on his screen. 3 days ago, he had commanded the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Now, he was beaten by primitives who had learned to fly only recently. "I surrender," he said quietly. The news of the Federation's defeat spread faster than their original conquest had centuries before. Within weeks, the old galactic order was completely gone. Dozens of species declared independence and requested human assistance in building new governments. Ambassador Marcus Thompson found himself busier than any diplomat in history. He worked with alien leaders to establish trade agreements that benefited everyone equally. The harsh tribute systems of the Federation were replaced with voluntary cooperation. Captain Foster, now promoted to Admiral, took command of Earth's growing fleet. The principles used to build the Shadowhawk were applied to new ships. Each vessel was a partnership between human creativity and alien knowledge, willing shared by grateful species. The ship that started it all, the broken gift that was meant to humiliate humanity, became the flagship of a new alliance. The Shadowhawk led a fleet of vessels representing dozens of worlds united in freedom. Dr. Amanda Wright established the Galactic Institute of Technology, where humans and aliens worked together to develop innovations that benefited everyone. The spirit of cooperation that had rebuilt one broken ship now rebuilt an entire galaxy. A year later, President Carter stood on the bridge of the Liberty, humanity's newest and largest starship. Through the viewscreen, she could see ships from 100 different worlds flying together in peace. "Atlas," she said to the AI that now coordinated the entire Alliance fleet, "what do you think our alien friends learned from this experience?" "They learned that the measure of a species is not in the power of their weapons or the size of their empire," Atlas replied. "It is in their willingness to help others and their refusal to give up when faced with impossible challenges." Carter smiled. "And what did we learn? That sometimes the best gifts come disguised as burdens. The aliens gave us a broken ship thinking it would prove our weakness. Instead, it became the foundation for proving our strength." Across the galaxy, children of a dozen species learned about the humans who turned garbage into gold and weakness into strength. The story of the Shadowhawk became a legend that would inspire beings for generations to come. The aliens had offered humanity a broken starship as a cruel joke. Humanity had built the deadliest weapon in the stars. But more importantly, they had built something even more powerful. They had built hope.